This is another video on the clean architecture series I'm making for the .NET Core REST APIs with the microservices architecture. So in this session, I will be covering Azure services, creating the Azure services, also covering the Azure DevOps pipeline. Prior to this, I have created 5 videos on this clean architecture where I have discussed about the basic foundation and also API configuration, created the project structure, also added the CRUD operations in the service. So in case if you miss those videos, it's always recommended so that you will actually hook with what I am trying to do part of this series. So let's take a look at today's session agenda. In the today's session, I will be focusing more on creating the Azure App Services, creating the Azure Resource Group, App Service Plan, where my app service is going to sit, and also Azure Key Vault. I think this is something I've already created earlier video, so I will be using the same Azure Key Vault. And once I create all these resources, I'm going to actually publish my code and see if I can see the Swagger URL hosted live. And then I will also walk through some of the advanced tools, Kudu portal settings, like where to see my app settings, where do I look at my logs in case if there are any errors in the application app service, where can I see those logs? And also you might be wondering how to see those files. When I'm deploying my code in the Azure, where can I see those files? What is my source code getting deployed? So all that I'm going to cover as part of this video. I will also be covering creating the Azure SQL Server in the Azure and SQL database. And the second part of the video is going to be completely automating all these resources in the using the Azure DevOps pipeline. So I'm using the Azure DevOps for CI/CD. So we'll be creating a build pipeline for the service, release pipeline. So I call it as a continuous integration, continuous delivery. Also creating the multiple stages of the service. So if I want to deploy to dev, there will be separate stage for dev, separate stage for QA, and same thing with the production. And then how to actually enable the automation so that when I commit my code in the Git repo, so the code is going to be published all the way to the Azure. So that's the goal of this video, and also covering the Azure DevOps for the database. So these are my build and release pipeline names. And I will also add how to actually configure the pre-deployment approval and so on. So there are a couple of references here. So let's focus on the first Azure App Services. So this is something I've already discussed, the deployment view of the application. So I can come back to this one at very high level. What we are going to have is the build pipeline and the release pipeline and deploying to the different environments like dev, QA, and production, and having the slots where you can swap the code during the production in the app service. So I can discuss more on this. So let's begin the actual session. So here is my service, which is created part of the previous series, where I've added a couple of API endpoints so that I can test with the database. And this API is also following some best practices. So I'm going to talk about the best practices in the subsequent videos in the next video. So these are my API endpoints. I've created get, put, post, delete, and the Heartbeat services. I'm also following some of the best practices. I mentioned there's some of the best practices yet to be covered. That is something I will be targeting in the next videos. I also have the test projects where I'm going to add unit test cases, functional test cases, and integration test cases as part of this API. So in my previous video, I have not merged the code into the main branch. So before I start the exercise, I'm going to actually merge my code into the main branch. So for that, I have to log into my DevOps. So let me quickly go into the DevOps. This is my DevOps where my Git repo where my code is sitting. So let me select the feedback service. I will merge my entity framework code into the main and then start working on publishing the code into the Azure DevOps. So I go to the branches, so I have the branch called, I think I might have merged into the main. So let's take a look at the history of the, okay, so I did merge into the main branch. So if I take a latest code, I should have all these endpoints. So I have all these endpoints in the code. Let's take a look at if I have the latest code. So if you don't have a latest code, you can pull the latest code just by clicking on the pull. So in order to create the Azure services, there are different ways to create the services. So let me first log into the Azure portal. So the expectation before you start watching this video is assuming that you already watched the previous video so that you are able to hook with this. And secondly, you should be having the Azure subscription, Azure login, so that you will be able to create the account, able to create the services in the Azure. In case if you have missed those, you may want to watch one of my video made on the how to create the Azure portal account, where you will actually need your email address, phone number, and your credit card or debit card so that you will be able to create the Azure portal account. So assuming that you have Azure portal account, if you not, you can watch this video and understand how to create the Azure portal. Also, my previous videos are here. If you can click on my videos, and this is my fundamental video. This is the project structure. This is the API configuration. This talks about the Azure Key Vault and health monitoring, and these are the entity framework with the CRUD operations. So with that, let's begin the connecting to the Azure DevOps, Azure portal, and start looking at. So this is my Azure portal, and this is my home page. Let's see what I have here. If I go to my previous resource group, I have created the Azure Key Vault. So that one of my previous video, I created the Azure Key Vault, and I also have the resource group. So in the same, I will be using the same resource group to create the Azure App Service. In order to create the Azure App Service for hosting this sample feedback service, so I'm taking this as an example for all these demos. You need the Azure App Service here. So one way to create the Azure service is you can click on the create service and search here the service which you are planning to create. So I can select the Azure service here. It should be Azure app. So you have different options here in the left nav, and you can select the web for the web app. So I click on the web app. So you can keep the resource group. You can use the existing resource group or create the new resource group, and you are going to select the runtime, stack, operating system. Also, you will be creating the app service plan where your web app is going to be placed. So this is one way of creating the Azure resources. The second one is you can use the RM template and create the Azure resources. And you can also use the Visual Studio to create the Azure resources. So there are multiple ways to create the Azure resources. I will be using the, I think I can use the Visual Studio for this demo. So let me use the Visual Studio for this demo. So I'm going to create the Azure resource. This is my resource group, which I already have. I'm going to create the app service plan and also the web app. So let's click on the publish and then select the Azure from here. So I'm using the Visual Studio 2019 latest service pack. So you can have the Azure App Service for Windows or Linux. So I'm using the Windows version. So prior to this, make sure that you already logged into the Azure portal from your Visual Studio so that you will be able to see your subscription and the resource group. So let me select the new. So I'm going to create the service. So this is my service name is Feedback API Dev. So I can go with all lowercase. So you can use the existing resource group or the new resource group. So this is my existing resource group, AK Lab, RG and Dev. And this is my app service plan. So I'm going to create the new app service plan called AK Lab App Service Plan Dev. So I'm going to use the West US. So all my resources will be in same location. So for now, I will be creating the free plan. So there are different tiers you can select. So for now, this demo, I'm going to use the free plan. If you see the naming conventions I'm following here, just for these are the simple basic naming conventions. I'm sure your organization will be having own naming conventions. So depending on the service, your requirement, you can go with the different naming conventions. So normally I would prefer if it is a shared and this is particular, like, this is my organization name. This will tell what the resource type, and this will say what the what is the environment. And here I'm creating the app service specific to the feedback API. So I will be giving the feedback API dev and just like this. So I'm going to share this resource group for other services. So that's why I keep the name AK Lab. Same thing with the app service plan. So the same app service plan, I might use it for QA also, for example. If I don't want to create the, if I want to create a separate app service plan for QA, what I'm going to do is I will give the same name as the service. I will say feedback, feedback hyphen a app service plan dev. That means that app service plan is dedicated to the feedback service itself. So as I mentioned, it all depends on the requirement. You can go with as per your company naming conventions. So let's go back here to the service. I'm going to say create. So make sure that you review before you create so that you are not doing any mess. So I would expect API with the name feedback hyphen API dev under this subscription. And this is my existing resource group. And this is my app service plan where the service is going to be placed. So this might take a minute because this is actually, since I selected the free tier, so it's going to share the plan with somebody else environment because it's not actually the isolated environment. So you have different hosting plans, like you can see the free, premium, standard, also the isolated. So isolated one is completely covering with the networking. So you can spin up the VNet with the subnet network security groups and firewalls and so on. So in your organization, you may want to select the isolated environment. Just for the demo purpose, I'm selecting here the free tier or the standard tier, but make sure that you select the right app service plan. Now, my services are created. So if I go back to the resource group, I'm sure I'll be able to see the services created under this resource group. So I have app service plan created and also the app service. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to publish my service into that service. So I selected the service and click on next. So this Visual Studio template also allows really nice that it suggests to create the API management while creating the microservices. So this is kind of a gateway, API gateway. So I'm sure it's like, in your application, so you may want to create the API gateway. So I will be coming back on the API gateway. I will be creating the API gateway, not at this point. So I will skip the API management for now and click on finish so that I can publish this source code into the Azure and see how application is working. So now the published file is created. So I have to publish my code. So before that, I can also preview the changes if I want. So this is a very good feature to see how that is looking like. So you can look at here my resource group, all these configurations and the target framework, deployment mode, and the target runtime, etc. So let me publish this. You can also set up the service dependencies while publish Visual Studio. So you can connect to the Azure Key Vault from here, and also the SQL Server database, or also if you have the storage account or any other external services from your services. These are service dependencies which you can do during the publish. This is a really, really nice template which we can use it to create, connecting all these service dependencies. Now my code is getting published here, so you can clearly see what files, adding the directory, adding these files. So these are all the package deployment happening to the Azure service, just like you publish to the IIS and the on-premise. So this will not take much time. This is going to be 30 seconds. So let's see what is getting deployed here. I can see all my files. Once the deployment is completed, this will automatically launch the URL and show you what how the URL looks like. So I have to wait for 30 seconds or a minute to see the code is getting deployed. Now I see that URL is getting launched. That means the code is published, but I have errors after publishing. This is expected because I think I have the Azure Key Vault configured and I haven't set up any permissions or anything yet for the Key Vault. So if I go to my program.cs, here I'm actually trying to connect to the Azure Key Vault. If I look at the appsetting.json file, all my appsetting JSON files are yet to be configured for the URL. In my previous session, I am using the development JSON file, so locally it works fine. And this is all my local database connection string. This is a Key Vault name. I'm yet to update that in the service. So that's why I expect this error to be coming. And now the next step, whenever you get an error, it is very, very important to see what that error looks like. Otherwise, you are shooting in dark, so that's not good. So in order to see what this error is, so you can either, go to the Stack Overflow links and see what that error means. So there could be different possibilities why you are getting that error. So there is no green tick mark here. That means there is no proper answer. So there are different possibilities why you will be getting that error. So the best way is you have to get access to your log so that you can see why I'm getting this error. So I'm going to show you how to access the log. So that is one of my agenda here, looking at the Kudu portal, the advanced tools for your event logs and app settings, and all your files where the code is getting deployed. Let's select the service here and then click on the advanced tools. So If you have full access, like at least the required access is make sure that you have required access to the Azure portal, Azure Kudu portal, because that's a separate URL and that required proper permissions and access. So once you log into the Kudu portal, this is a home page where you can look at your app settings. These are all the default app settings. I have not configured anything yet. I'm going to configure the app settings. These are all the default app settings. When you click on here, you will see the default app settings. And this is a log stream. I haven't enabled the log stream yet, so I'm going to enable the log stream to see log stream, all the logging into the portal. So more than log stream, the event log is going to be very helpful. So log stream is always fine. This is slow, but let me take you to the CMD. So this is, you see the C home. This is where your files are located for your website. This is just like your IIS in the on-premise. This is the place where you can see the logs. You see the event log.xml. This is contains all your event logs where you can actually see what the error looks like. It says this is my exception. So the process was terminated due to the unhandled process, because in the program.cs, before, if I want to start the program, if I want to start the service, it has to complete all these steps and then it is going to start. So there is an error, invalid URI. The host name could not be parsed. So that's related to the Azure Key Vault. It is trying to connect to the Azure Key Vault and it couldn't find the Key Vault because in the app setting.json file, there is no Key Vault name specified here. So I have to replace, this is going to be replaced at runtime. That means I have to add my Key Vault name in the app service configuration file. So this is my configuration file. I'm going to fix that now to see how that is going to be addressed. So the main important point here is make sure that you understand how to look the logs so that you are actually fixing the right issue. So I'm going to add the configuration. So click on the configuration and add your app settings file, app settings here. So sorry, this is going to be my app settings dot key vault name. You see the naming convention here. The keys always give underscore underscore. There are two underscores for this hierarchy. If I go here under the app settings, you have the key vault name. So app settings hyphen hyphen key vault name and give the name of the key vault. So if you are using the slots, you can select the slots. For now, I'm not using any slots. So make sure that this is not saved yet. So when you are adding, doesn't mean that it is completed. So you have to save, click on the save. So I'm also going to add bypass equal to false. Make sure that it is actually connecting the key vault, not bypass in the app service. So I will add these two. Let me see. I also need the connection string, so I can add it all of them together. This is my connection string. So I'm going to, this is my local connection string. So I don't have the connection string yet. So I'm going to come back here to BD and add that connection string later. So for now, I will save it. So whenever you update the keys in the service and say save, it shows immediately save, but it takes a minute or two to actually update the settings. So make sure that you wait for that time, not looking at immediately. So because I think the service getting restarted whenever you update the keys. So let's take a look at the app settings here in the Kudu portal to see, I can see those app settings coming here. So I have added app setting key vault, app settings bypass, sorry, I think bypass key vault. So I'm supposed to add the bypass key vault. Anyway, let me correct that, and also have a connection string. This is my connection string. Let me add. So I want to add the bypass key vault. Okay, so let's now I have given the key vault name. I'm sure it will try to connect to the key vault. So let's refresh the screen. So before that, I need to understand what time I got the error, so that if I get, I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of errors. I have to fix those errors. It's good that you need to get those errors and you understand those errors, so that next time when you are working on next project, so you will be able to fix those errors easily. So I'm going to track this time, which is 15. This is a UTC time, the 15:21. That's my time. So let me note it down somewhere. So this is the last error I got. So I'm going to refresh this page and see the next error. If it is connected to the Azure Key Vault from the app setting.json file, now I'm going to get different error, maybe on the same key vault, because I haven't given the permission to the service to access the key vaults yet. So I'm sure I'm going to get the access denied error when I'm actually trying to connect to the Azure Key Vault. So it will still not start the service because the key vault connection is on the program.cs, so that has to connect to the key vault without any access issues. So let's see if I have new error. So this is 8:21. Now the time is 8:31. So that means the error is not updated yet. So I'm sure this is taking some time. So I can see now I'm still getting the same error. If I refresh the Kudu portal, I can see the new time. Let's take a look at the new error. So this is at 15:32. My previous error was at 15:21. So I'm going to track this time so that I know the different errors. So this time I'm again getting the error, but it's a different error. It says that the forbidden, this is expected error because I didn't provide access to my Key Vault service. I did provide access to this service to access the Key Vault. So it says that the user or the group application is trying to access, and it doesn't have permissions to Key Vault. So just take a look at, this is the name of the app ID which is trying to connect to Azure Key Vault. So let's take a look at the what is that ID looks like. If I go to my service, this is my service, and my service identity, by default it is enabled. If it is not enabled, you may want to enable this. So you are going to use this identity. So I'm connecting to Azure Key Vault using my identity management. So I can provide more details on this in the subsequent videos, but we need access to, in order to provide access to the app service, you need to enable the identity. It is called the managed identity, and it is going to create a service principal inside the Azure Active Directory, and that's the name of the ID which is actually trying to connect. So if you see DCE00, so that's my object ID, and I will be able to find the app ID in the Azure Active Directory. So let me quickly show you that. With the same name as this service, Feedback API Dev, I should be able to see app registered under the enterprise applications. So I'm going to search with say all and feedback API .dev, and this is my application ID, which I can see in my error. So this service account trying to access, it's not service account, it's a service principal trying to access to the Azure Key Vault, but the access is not provided. So let me go back to Key Vault service and provide access to this API so that API will be able to talk to the Key Vault. So now I'm opening the Key Vault. I have to provide access to the API. For that, click on the access policy and you click on the add access policy. So I'm going to provide access to the Key Vault. So you don't need access to all these. You just need the get and list. Same here in the secrets. So I will leave it for now, but I'm just saying that you don't need access to all these services. So I'm going to select the service principal. Here my service principal is feedback API. This is exactly the same ID. Make sure that you are able to recognize it. So I have added here to provide access to the service. So that's under the access policy. I'm sure I will still get an error. Let me see if I can connect to the Azure Key Vault this time. So I'm still getting an error. Let's see if I have the exception. The last error I saw was 832. So 832. So that means the error is not updated, or I'm not hitting it properly. So looks like the error not updated. So I'm sure I'm still getting the error. Let me go and add under the IAM. So right now, if I see I don't have an access to, let me add the, so maybe I can add as a contributor access feedback API. I'm going to provide access to as a contributor access. So I'm sure this time the service should have access to the Azure Key Vault. I'm going to refresh the logs. So I'm still seeing the same timer. So let's look at the details. So it looks like I haven't clicked on the save. I've added the access policy, but I didn't click on save. I don't see my service listed here. So that's why I think I'm still getting the error. So let me redo this quickly. So I will leave it those permissions for now. I'll select it and click on add. So I just clicked on add, but really not saved it. So that's why I think I'm still getting issue. I'm still not able to. So this time, let's see if there is any progress. Am I getting any more errors? So I don't see any more errors. Sometimes this takes some time. So probably let me pause my video and then see what the issue is. So here is the deal. I think I missed adding the actual permission to the service in the Key Vault. I think I might have messed up. So make sure that you go and add role. So I clicked on the contributor. So you should be giving the Key Vault reader or the Key Vault contributor, and then select the service. So this is my service. I've already added here. and you will save here. So once you save, make sure that you are able to see that the new service being added. So let me see, where is my service? So feedback. So this is the service I have added. I've given the Key Vault contributor access. That's point number one. And I've also added in the access policies. That's point number two. Even if I add these two permissions, I'm still getting the error and my logs are not getting refreshed. That's because I had to restart the service to get the permissions reflected in the service. So that's the fix. Make sure that you do all three steps, those two permissions in the Key Vault and restart the service. Every time you make a change in the Key Vault, you have to restart the service to pick up those new changes. So that is the new learning here. So make sure that you are following those. Now, when I saw my new event log refreshed, I'm still getting the error. That's fine. I need to understand why I'm getting those errors. But good thing is I can see the event log is updated with the exception. So if I look at my new error at, so I'm going to track all these errors so that I know what that error is. So this time there is a big exception here. It says that the health check code, one of the style sheet file I have added is not found. So this is related to the health check. So I have to fix that in the exception. So as part of this session, I'm also covering all these exceptions so that I'm sure when you're working on, you will be facing all these kind of exceptions, but you also need to understand how to address those issues. So looking at the log and fixing those issues, so that's the takeaway from these kind of issues. So as I mentioned, I'm getting exception on this custom.css file, which I added earlier. So let me try to include in my project. So that's weird. So I'm unable to include that in the project. So let me quickly go into the file. So I will try to keep it outside. So now it picked up and added in the project. So I don't know why that is so strange. So what I'm going to do is, this is actually a content type. I'm going to also keep that always copy so that it will not give. So for now, I will also turn off the health check until I stabilize my solution so that I will not be running more issues on this. So I'll be uncomment this for now. I'm going to publish this code again. So let me first build before publish. So if you are working locally, it's always easy for publishing from the Visual Studio also, at least for the dev environment, I feel comfortable publishing from the Visual Studio. So if you see that since I've changed a couple of changes, I would expect the publish only those files which are changed, not everything. So this could be faster than first time because I'm not publishing everything. So if you see the only changes, you can see there are few updates, few additions. So this is the addition and the remaining are updates, especially the DNS. Okay, now the service is running. This error is different. Since I'm getting this error, that means the service is running. So just to prove that service is running, so let's take a look at the log. I'm still getting the error, but I this time this is 850, and I can see the service has started successfully. So we need to deal with this error. This error is related to the Swagger XML file for the Swagger documentation. So it says that there is no file found at the root folder when the service is trying to launch the Swagger. So because in the startup, I'm launching the Swagger also. If I go to the properties in the launch settings, So I have given this Swagger feedback. So this is trying to launch the Swagger, but there is no XML file for the documentation. So if you look at the Swagger configuration, I have those XML file path here in the root directory. So that's not found. So I have to add that file explicitly here to fix that error. So let me quickly go and get that file. So that file is available under the feed, the bin folder. So I'm going to copy that from the bin folder into here. In my other window, I have that file here. So let me include this in the, so it is already included. Make sure that the file type is content. This is in XML. So I will also say always copy, so that this is going to be part of the project when we are actually. So let me rebuild and publish again. Rebuild successful. Click on publish, and I'm publishing now to the Azure. It says that the file not found in the www root. So I have to show you that missing file. So I forgot that to so let's see once this launch. So this is a good sign. This is now coming up. In the previous error, I want to show where the files are located. When you deploy the source code, you need to understand where the code is sitting. So if you click on the sites, click on www roots, and you see that C home sites www roots. This is the place where my source code is located in the Azure. And if you look at in my previous one, this was missing. This is just added right now, 852. So that's why the code, the error is fixed now. If you want to check what my app settings looks like, you see all these app settings. The configurations are really from the app setting configuration, not from this file. You still see these are still replaced. So now this shows that this is working as expected. Now let me launch the Swagger URL to make sure that my service is live in the cloud app service with working. So these are the kind of issues you will face when you are deploying for the first time. So just to recap, so I got a couple of errors. One is related to the keywords. The second one, the health check related. And third one, I was actually getting that XML related error, XML file related XML related error. So I've added that XML file to fix that issues. And these are my published files. If I look at here, the only change I added is this one. Let's see where we landed. So discussed about created the Azure App Service Resource Group, Resource Plan, App Service, Key Vault. Also launched the Swagger, fixed those issues. I've also explained the Kudu portal with the log stream. So let me also add the log stream for the service. So if I go back to my service here, so this is my keyword. I don't need anything from the keyword. I don't need anything from here. So click on the service. So in order to enable the log stream, click on the app service. So for now, the log stream is not enabled. So I just wanted to show you that it will say log stream is not connected. Now connected. Oh, okay. So by default, normally it's not connected, but I see it is connected now. So if not connected, you can click on application logging on. In case if you also want to stream into the blob, you can select on and select the blob storage. And this is the web server logging. And this is the detailed error message. And this is the failed request tracing. So you can click on the failed. So I'm not enable this detailed error messages because these are actually showing when I click on, it is actually showing all the HTML version of the error. So it's not just the error, it is the HTML. So make sure that we toggle off to see the clear exception instead of seeing that HTML version of exception. So you can try that the difference between on and off when you get the exceptions on this one. Now I see the log stream is working. When I run something, I should be able to get the logs. This will not definitely work because I'm not connected to the database yet. So, but I would like to see this error is coming up. It's trying to connect to the database and there is no connection string yet. So we kept that to reading. But let's see, now the log stream is coming up with information. And in the event log, let me go back to the event log. So it says that the unable to connect to the SQL server. I'm sure this is not required. I'm sure that is something I should be able to see in the app service. If it is, yes, that's the latest app service. It doesn't show that error. So actually, I am not actually logging into the event log. So I need to enable the event logging for the Azure in the service. So that is something I will be covering in a bit. So we have to add that logging feature here to make sure that the logging is working. So this is the biggest culprit. We don't need to clear the providers. I'm going to talk about this logging clear providers in a bit. But for now, what I want to say that we have completed creating all these Azure resources, enable the log stream. Now I'm going to create the Azure SQL Server database. And this is my SQL Server and this is my SQL database. So let's create this. This time I'm going to create this using the portal. Let's go to the portal and then click on create resource. So I'm creating the Azure SQL. So I will be there are three different options like Azure SQL database or managed instance or virtual machine instances. I will be creating the Azure SQL Server database. So I'll be using the existing resource group. So this is my dev resource group and this is going to be the SQL database name. The database name evac service. So what I call is the feedback dev. And the server, I'm going to say STUS. We'll use the SQL authentication. So let me give the appropriate name here and the password. So this will make sure that I'm not burning the cost. So I will have to create the basic one. By default, if you select like this is going to cost somewhere like $100+. So anyway, I'm going to create the basic one, which is like, you know, £3. Let's take a look at the review. So I have the subscription, resource group, database name, server name, and I also remember my username and the password. Let's say I'm not dealing with all the networking, other things as part of this demo. So that will be probably in the future demo. So I'll just spin up one SQL Server instance along with the database for connecting to connecting my feedback database and hosting my feedback database. Okay, while this is in progress, so this will take a minute or two because it has to actually create the SQL Server instance along with the database. So this will take at least 1 or 2 minutes. So meanwhile, let me see my agenda. I'm going to create these. So this is my database project. So in a previous video, I have created the database project. I'm going to quickly build this. I'm getting some error. I know I added this change script file last time, and this is not properly reviewed. For now, what I'm going to say, not build actually. So I will not say don't build, but I always include so that I will talk about the change script, how to actually deploy the change scripts files in the future videos. But for now, I'm going to focus only on deploying the database into the database project. Let's come back and see. This is my DevOps. I don't need this. Okay, so still deployment is in progress. So before deploying here, earlier I have deployed this to the local database, published this to the database, clicking on the publish and create, click on edit. So in order to publish this to the database, you can, I already have the connection string. Let me quickly select to the connection string. So this is my local database connection string. So I can publish, make sure that this is still working as expected. So I'm going to connect to the local database. So this is the, I'm not sure what file name I gave. I think it's a feedback database. So this is the, I have multiple databases with the same name. So this is published database from here. So what I'm going to do is I will delete from here. Let me close the connection string. Delete from here. Anyway, this is my local database. So I'm going to see if this is deployed. Yes, this is deployed. Now, what I'll do is I'll connect to the Azure database from the SSMS, and this is my connection string. So let me quickly save these connection strings somewhere. So this is my server name, and this is my database name, username, and the password. So let's connect from the SSMS. I'm deleting the local database just to avoid the confusion here. But if it is taking time, I will cancel it and try to connect to SSMS for the Azure version. Okay, so ignore that for now. So let's connect to I'm going to use the SQL server name, and then the username I gave is CKLabadmin, and this is my password. Let's connect and see if I'm able to connect to the database. So it is actually blocking the IP address while connecting to the database because by default firewall will block to your SQL Server database. This is my IP address, which is actually not allowing to access. So that's why I'm getting this error. So either you can click on sign in from here, enter your Azure credentials, and this is going to add my IP address. And I will also show you how to add IP address, whitelist IP address in the SQL Server from the backend. So let's go to the SQL Server database. So let's locate database. So I go to the SQL Server database. So this is a SQL Server, and the networking or the firewall. Sorry, SQL Server. Where is my firewall? Firewall virtual network. So I can say add client IP address. This is my AK lab IP address. So this is my IP address. So in case if you want to know what is my IP address, so you can quickly Google it. So this is my public IP address of the laptop I'm working on. So you can save it from here so that you won't get that error while connecting from the SQL Server Management Studio. So let's try to connect now. Now this is connected. Minimize this. So there will not be any database table because this database is connected through the Azure portal, and I haven't published any. I haven't published the database yet. So I'm going to publish the database from the database project which I created here. So if I say click on publish, I will select to the database. So let's see, is this my database? AK Lab SQL Dev database test connection. So the database name I gave is feedback dev. I will leave it the default one. I'm trying to publish from local the Visual Studio to the Azure. I'm sure this will break. So I have to experience what that issue looks like. So sometimes this takes a minute or two. Okay, so my database connection string is not correct. So the one which I've used earlier is not the right one. So it should be AKS Labs SQL Server -dev. That's my server name. So I just corrected it. So make sure that this is working as expected. Let's see the test connection passes. So feedback dev, that's my database name. So you can click on the advanced if you want to recreate. Sometimes this is useful but for the first time, since I'm publishing for the first time, that's not the right option. I want to see what the error is. It says that the project which specified the SQL Server 16 as a target cannot publish to the Azure SQL. So make sure that you understand these kind of issues. So it says that you're trying to connect to the project which is not actually target type Azure SQL database. So that is something you'll be able to see in the properties. Its target platform is the SQL Server. This is kind of works for the on-premise, not for the Azure. So make sure that you select the Microsoft Azure SQL Server target platform and try to publish to the same. So this is my connection string. When I click on the test, ideally that should say successfully connected. Not sure why that's not showing that. So let's see this time if I get any exception, or will it publish from here. So again, this is going to take some time if everything is working. So I think it is trying to connect, and it is also creating the master database along with the database, the feedback database. So in my previous previous session, I have explained how to publish this to the local SQL Server instance. Now, this using the local Visual Studio. This time, I'm explaining how to publish the SQL database project to the Azure. And as the next step, I'm going to actually automate this using the Azure DevOps. So I will be creating the DevOps pipeline for the SQL Server database. So that I think the DevOps pipeline for the Azure the API is also pending. So I'll be covering all that together, deploying the service, deploying the SQL database using the Azure DevOps CI/CD and automating. So this is almost done. Once this is done, I'm going to validate to make sure that the database got deployed to the server. So this is now, even though this is still execute, so this is came up. I thought I created the feedback dev database, but looks like I didn't correct the database name. It says the feedback database. So now the publish is completed. Let me take a look at the database table. I'm sure I will be having the data along with this, but actually I want to publish this to the feedback dev, not creating the separate database. So let me quickly delete this and create publish to the existing database so that I can use the database which is created on the Azure SQL and from the Azure portal. So let me republish again. This time make sure that I keep the correct, sorry, not the service, publish. So this is the right connection string. Does it have a database? No. Okay, so the database name is here, feedback dev. Okay, so that's my connection state. So I will try to recreate, even though for the first time. So this is the feedback dev. The script name. I'll keep it consistent. Publish now. So now this time it is connecting to the feedback dev. Let's refresh database tables. It's still not done, so I have to wait for a bit. Okay, now I can see it's successfully published to the existing Azure SQL database. Let's refresh the table and see if I can see the data in the table. Perfect. So now I know this database publish works from the local database. Now I need to prove that the same thing works in the Azure DevOps also. Now let me commit my changes because these changes are going to be in use. So I know there are no much changes in the SQL database side. So this is the only change. So I have changed the target change the target framework. For the deployment, I'll push the changes so that I can use that in the Azure DevOps pipeline to publish from main. Let me also commit my changes in the Ideally, I'll be creating the feature branch and commit my changes, but since this time there are no much changes, I'm sure I'll be okay to commit to the main branch. So I have corrected the Swagger XML file, added the Swagger XML file. I think I cleared this. I'm going to talk about this. The this is something going to be helpful part of the application insights later. Right. For now, also commented the. So what should I say? Fix deployment issues from localhost. So my code is in the main branch, the latest code. So I'm going to create the DevOps pipeline from the main for the service, the feedback service also for the database. So the code is pushed now. I'm ready for the DevOps actions. So as I mentioned in the DevOps actions, we'll create the build release pipeline and then create the slots, the different stages, and then automate the pipeline. Same thing for the SQL Server. So let's begin the database, the DevOps activity. So here is my DevOps. So assuming that you already have code committed, let's see, click on the publish. So I'm going to create the new pipeline. Again, creating the Azure pipeline is also something we can do from the Azure itself. So if you go to the Azure portal, in the service, let me quickly select the service. In the deployment center, this will also allow you to create the CI/CD by clicking on the configuration. This is a legacy portal. This is going to be retired. So from here, you can connect to the Azure DevOps. So you can select the Git repo location. So if you are using the Bitbucket, select the Bitbucket, GitHub, or the local Git or the Azure DevOps. So mine is in the Azure repos. So I'll be selecting my organization name and also selecting the project. So the project I'm working on is AT Lab, and this is my feedback service, and I can select the branch name and then save it. As I mentioned, this is a legacy one. There is one more view of creating the CI/CD. That is something not showing up here. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't show up. But anyway, I'm not going to use the deployment center for creating the CI/CD. I'll be actually creating it manually using the DevOps pipeline. So let's begin with the DevOps pipeline option. So I will click on the other Git. That's the easiest one to start with. So I will select the service, feedback service, and I'm also going to select the branch and click on. So since this is the .NET Core project, so my .NET Framework version 5, I can quickly show you the .NET Framework version. So I will be selecting the .NET Core pipeline. So make sure that depending on what is your project, Visual Studio project structure. So I will be selecting the .NET Core here, and I see bunch of tasks added automatically. So I will be reusing these tasks. I think with a minimal changes, I will be able to start my CI. So I will be selecting the Ubuntu version, so which is faster for compiling. If you see, this is actually trying to restore for all the projects within the solution. So I'm saying the wildcard character. So using the .cs projects, all the CS projects will be part of it, and also all the test projects will be covered here. So you can give the appropriate name here. So I would call this as feedback service CI, and then I can save it for now. I'm sure there are no other additional changes required, so I'm triggering the CI from the release branch. This task will restore the required components, compile the code. If there are any test cases, will be triggered part of the test task, and finally publish into the draft folder. So once this is published into the draft folder, the release pipeline is going to pick up from here and then publish into the Azure. So let's begin the trigger the build. This is going to compile and keep the source code in the draft folder. So this is very straightforward. So there is nothing much required to build the source code unless you have additional requirement for your build pipeline. For example, sometimes you may want to add your test cases building separately or the service project building separately and so on. But for now, I'm going to create everything together. So even when sometimes you might need to build these test projects, each project separately. You might have pre-steps, post-steps, for example. All that I will be talking in the future videos. Like if you are creating the infrastructure, functional testing, you might want to insert some SQL for running those functional test cases. So you might need to alter your DevOps pipeline for accommodating all those kind of requirements. But for now, for this demo, I'm going to create a straightforward CI and CD. The goal is to publish the code into the Azure by using the automated CI CD. My CI is almost ready. I've given appropriate name and then code is published. Now if I take a look at here, once this is published, you will be able to see whether it's successfully published, and then when you click on here, the main important thing is to make sure that your published artifacts are coming as a zip file, so that this is going to be used in the release pipeline. So let's go and click on the new release. So I'm going to create the app service deployment, and this is my dev stage. So I'll just name it as dev, and then click on the tasks. So here you have to select the Azure subscription. So I already have connected the Azure subscription. So if you are doing for the first time, you might face some challenges in connecting to the Azure portal from Azure DevOps. So, or you can also create the service connections in the Azure and then use those service connections. So that means each application will have one service connection, or each app service plan will have one service connection, and so on. So I'm using my global subscription Azure connection for connecting. My app is actually, so you have different options here, whether it is under the Windows or the Linux or the container. So there are different options. So mine is under the Windows, which is the web app. So I should be able to see my app coming up here. So it's that straightforward for creating this task. So I'm going to save it and review if there are any changes required. So these are all default. I'm going to leave these as a default options. I think I don't need to make any changes except that the package location. So this is not showing the package location. So let's build this. Let's create the new release and see if there are any issues to fix it. By the way, I think I didn't connect to the CI from CD, so this might not work. So let's see what it says. I'm sure this will not work because I didn't connect to the CI from pipeline. So this is my pipeline name. Click on edit. So let me give appropriate name. Feedback service CD. So here you need to add artifact. I'm going to select the feedback service CI. You see the nice name. Now I will also enable the CD. Part of my agenda, I will be automating these. So you make sure that you enable this. Same thing in the pipeline. So if you go and click on the pipeline, click on edit, Then select the trigger and say enable. I also select the batch changes file running the project. It's from the main branch. So I've automated, enabled CI and CD both. Now I have selected after release. As soon as the release is ready, CI is ready, it's going to trigger, it's not manual. And then I can also keep some pre-deployment approval. For dev, I will not be giving the pre-deployment approvals, but for the test or QA or production stages, I'm going to enable that just to show you how that works. So let's take a look at if there are any changes required. I'm sure there are no changes except this one. So you have to make sure that you select the zip file from here and click on create. So this time this should work if everything is connected properly, and publish this code to the Azure App Services. Again, this will take a minute or two since we are doing for the first time. So it is connected, otherwise we will not be getting this error. So it's connected now. Updated app service settings and Kuru application settings. Package deployment using the zip deploy initiated. Successfully deployed the web app to the app service. Then from package mix. So it is connected without any issue. So since we have done the CD properly, so it didn't show any error, so it is good. Let's take a look at the CI and the CD. Okay, so how do we confirm that the service is deployed? Let's go and refresh. Make sure that this is working again. So since we redeployed, the service has to restart. So in order to confirm that the deployment is working as expected, so let's discuss this. Go to the deployment center. I'm sure I will be able to see the log for the new deployment from the Azure DevOps. So it's loading from here. It says that this is the repository, this is the branch, and we can also see the log. This is 935 got deployed. So this deployment is from the Azure DevOps. Let's quickly recap what is done part of the CI/CD. I think I also need to create the slots for QA. So let's see. So this is my source code, feedback service. From the main branch, I'm deploying the source code. This is my pipeline. In the pipeline, I have used all the default ones. I don't have any custom variables. Everything is default variables. Release mode, deploy, release mode, compiling, the build platform. All these are default. So if you want to automate overnight, if you want to run your test cases, so all that can be added from here and schedule the time. And I'm using the default format for my build name. So there is no customization. If you want to see the history of what changes have been done, every time when you make some changes in the CI, those things will be available in the history. Go back to the release. Let's take a look at the release. So I've given the appropriate names here. So naming conventions is service name -CD, service name -CI, and then let's take a look at here. From here, I'm connecting to the CI, and then also enabled the continuous deployment, and next one is the dev stage. So this will be deployed to the dev service, and I haven't set up any extra things here, and this is connecting to the Azure service subscriptions, and this deploy Azure app service task I've used to deploy, and I selected the zip file. So if you want to create another slot, another stage for QA, so what you have to do is you have to add from here. You can clone it or you can add it. So cloning is same as what we have here, exact copy. So what I'm going to do is this will be my test. So I'll save it, and then this time for the test I'm going to add pre-deployment approval. So unless this is approved, you will not be able to approve the deploy the code into the QA. Same thing. So here I haven't created the QA service. It is still connecting to the dev service. That should be fine. So once you create the test, so you may want to connect to the test service. So same thing. Let me also go and add clone one more stage for production. So this is going to be used for the production. Again, here the trigger point is after the dev release. So manually for QA, you may want to do it after. That should be fine, but you can still make the change. But production, definitely you want to do it manually, so not doing immediately. Or if you are doing after the QA, that requires the pre-approval. So I've enabled the pre-approval here. Make sure that somebody approves before deploying this to QA. So I have this task. So in the stage, you also want to add one more for running the performance testing. So you can expand this. I will be talking about the adding more stages, slots, etc. in the future videos. But for now, let's see if the CI/CD working as expected. So let me quickly make some changes in the code to see if the things are working as expected. Let me go to the startup. I'll just uncomment this code just to trigger the CI, because I make sure that I've enabled the CI here. Automate the CI in the trigger. This is enabled. So if I commit my changes to the main branch, from the main branch, the code should get triggered. So testing DevOps CI and CD. I'm sure I'm taking the baby steps, but I wanted to make sure that the CI and CD is working as expected. So I see the CI started and it's compiling the source code. I will also monitor. Once the CI is done, I will be seeing the CD will be triggered automatically and completing the dev deployment and waiting for QA for approval. And once that is approved, then it will deploy to QA. And then once that is approved, manually you are going to deploy that to the production. So that's the behavior I want to see from the CI/CD pipeline. So while this is working, while that is getting deployed, I will also focus on preparation for the database deployment. So we need to create the Docpack deployment here because I will be deploying the SQL Server database to the SQL Server database using the Docpack deployment. So one thing I noticed is this one is actually directly um, placed under the project. So I might need to create an additional folder for the DocPack deployment. But before that, I will experience that and then show you that. I think this is done. Let's see. Yep, now the new release triggered. Is it started? Yep. So it's waiting for the agent job. Now it's in progress. This is going to trigger. So meanwhile, as I mentioned, I'm going to start focusing on the database deployment. So in order to create the database CI and the CD using the DocPack deployment, so I'm going to create the new pipeline. I will select the other Git and from the database project. So main branch I will be using. Now I have to create the DocPack ASP.NET. So I will be selecting the build and test ASP.NET web application. So the reason I'm selecting the web application here is because my project is created using the Visual Studio template database project, and this project is actually pointing to the target framework. Is it a framework or? Okay. Anyway, this is my Visual Studio project. I'm trying to see whether it is a SQL. The target framework is framework .NET Core or the .NET framework, but never mind. So because this is the Visual Studio project, I'm going to use the ASP.NET build and test task. So that my source code is going to compile. Then I will be adding the new task for copy files. So that will be used for copy the DocPack file. So that is after test. So I don't need the test because this is not the, I can disable that. This is not the, there are no test cases in the SQL server. So let me also give appropriate names. So this will be feedback database CI. That's the name I think I want to give. Feedback database CI. So I've added the copy file task to copy the DocPack tasks. So here I'm going to copy this into the so first of all, this will be DocPack slash and my target folder will be database and my source folder here. You see here I'm unable to select the DocPack file when the DocPack file will be created. So it's going to be under OBJ bin folder. But in order to see that, I need to have another folder. All these files should be in one parent folder, and I can select that parent folder. So here I cannot select any of these because the DocPack file is going to be outside this. So this is where I need to make small changes in the source code and then come back here. For now, I will save this. So I left the source folder empty, so this is not going to work. So I have to make some changes here. So meanwhile, let me also see if this is triggered. I'm doing things parallel. So I will approve this. So this is going to take some time. I'll come back this again. Now back to SQL database. As I mentioned, I need to create a parent folder and keep all these files under the parent folder so that I'll be able to select that parent folder in the CI. So I'll close this so that I can create the parent folder. So what we need to do is, as I mentioned earlier, my code was directly all these files was outside here. So I've created one more folder called feedback database, and then move the solution and then git attribute and ignore files and leave me outside, and then actual project is placed here, so that when the DuckPack is created, DuckPack is also going created under the build debug folder, and this is my DuckPack file, so that I'll be able to pick up that in the build definition. So that's the change I have made. Just moved outside, created a folder, and moved all these folders inside this folder. So that's the only change I did. So I will make sure that I'll select I'll commit this change so that the build definition will be able to pick up this. So move folders inside the new folder to support DuckPack deployment. Now let's go to the build definition and correct the source path for the DuckPack file in the copy task. So this is my build definition. So let me refresh. So if I go and click on now I can see the folder name. So that when the DuckPack file is created, DuckPack file will be created inside this folder in the bin debug. So this is my DuckPack, all the DuckPack files. So as I mentioned, make sure that I'm giving the right extension. Under the bin debug, I have a DACPX. So that's the file extension. So all the DuckPack files will be coming here and placing it in the database folder. So this is actually publishing to the draft folder. So make sure that works. So let me queue a new build and see if I can see the DuckPack file is getting created as part of the build definition. While this is compiling and building, let me see what's happening with the service deployment to their test is completed. So basically in the test also I'm using the same service. That means the code is getting overridden. Again, this is a production stage required the approval. So since I'm approving, this should be deploying and overriding, of course, on the same service. So just to show you the sequence of stages required in the build release pipeline, I just created all these, and along with the pre-approval settings. So this is still building. So there, I'm sure there will be a better way of doing the Docpack deployment. This works for me. I need to work on it. So we may not require some of the tasks like um, restore or the kind of thing. So I only need, but I think I still need the restore and the build because the this file, the Docpack file is actually going to be part of the build only. So this is now done. Copied the file to here. Let me look at if that is created here. If I click on here, so I think there is still some challenge. Looks like otherwise I'm expecting to see the Docpack file with the dropped folder. Sorry, I'm sure there is some mistake in the path. It says it is empty. So I just noticed that the star is missing here. So star dot Docpack. So I just corrected this and rebuild here. So once I rebuild, I can see the Docpack file is coming in the draft folder under the database being released. I can see the Docpack file. So that means my build definition is working fine. Now let's focus on the release definition. So I need to create the new release for deploying this Docpack into the SQL Server database. So click on New Pipeline, and I'm going to name this. So this is going to be SQL Docpack deployment. I don't see that. So let me first SQL. Can I add empty job? So yeah, I can add empty job. This is my dev space. Let's save this. Connect to the CI, database CI, and then also enable the continuous delivery. And this is going to be deployed after the task. Now what I'll do is I'm going to add the Docpack task here, Docpack task for the SQL Azure deployment. And what I need is the subscription. I'm going to use the same subscription, my Azure subscription. So I need to provide the server name, database name, login password. So I'll be using the release variables this time. So server name. So the SQL Server connection string, I have to use the SQL Server connection string, which I used for connecting to. Make sure that I'm adding it correctly. So this is my server. I will call it as a SQL Server database. My database is React Dev. Username. AK SQL admin. I'm sure that's my username, password. So let me encrypt this password. So I've added my release variable. Go to the task here. So make sure that I'm referring the same name. This is the SQL Server. So the way it works is this is how we read the database, the variable name, database, username, password. So select the file name which you want to deploy from here. That's the file name. So I'm reading the release variables from the variables tab here. Let's review once again. These are correct. Make sure that otherwise we'll get an error while connecting to the database. So this will, let's trigger the release to see if that works. I'm sure I might have connected the SQL Server connection string from here. Click on the database in case if you want to confirm the SQL connection. So I think I saved here already. So make sure I'm using the same. I'm not using the port number. Not sure if that is going to be a problem. Looks like it is connecting to, no, it's not yet. Now let's review the variables quickly. Where's my release? So I think I would like to give the proper name. Feedback database PD. So what I'm trying to see is, okay, I give the 1433, that's the default port number. And the username we can add SQL admin. Okay, so that is correct. So looks like it is connecting to Azure SQL database deployment. So I can see the connection things coming up here. It's also able to pick up the Docker file, publishing the database on this server. So it is an initialize deployment start task. So let's wait for a minute. I think this might take a minute. So normally this should not take such a long time. I see almost taking 4 minutes. But there is a, finally it happens. So this is unusual, but normally it takes less than 2 minutes. Maybe for the first time it's taking more time. Now I see my database is back. So how do I prove that this database is working as expected? What I can do is I can add a small change in the lookup data table and see if that is my build pipeline is still working as expected. So I'll add some one additional row and see if that is still can work. So just for testing, I have added additional row in the database table. Pipeline testing. Here I'm feeding testing. So since I have enabled the build and release pipeline, it should automatically trigger the release this time. Okay, no, that's not triggering. So make sure that I am committed into the main branch. So I go to the pipeline, select the pipeline, edit, the triggers. No, sorry, I think I didn't enable for the database, so have enabled only for the service. So CD, let me also make sure before I test this is working. So this is enabled. So what I'll do is I'll just maybe add remove some space. So pushing the code to DevOps. So as soon as that is pushed to the server, DevOps, I should be able to see the CI is triggered, and the code is getting packaged as a docpack deployment. Create the docpack, compile the code, build the code from the bin folder, take the docpack file and copy into the drop folder. So that's the purpose of the build definition. So I think I'm pretty much done part of this session. I'm just testing, make sure that my new database changes are reflected in the Azure SQL Server database as part of these tasks. So as I mentioned, so I'm going to continue this series to make sure that I'm adding all the best practices as part of this clean architecture journey. So if you have missed any of my videos prior to this, it's always recommended to watch those so that you are actually connected to what we are actually discussing here. So this is something I would like to discuss what we have done part of this video while this is getting triggered and before we test this. So here, I think we discussed this. So the stages for the dev, QA, and production, and swapping slots, that is something I will be discussing in the future videos. So I'm going to continue in the next video talking about the REST API best practices because currently I have just added the CRUD operations, but there are plenty of things to improve as part of the best practices, making sure that this service which I'm building is going to include all the REST API best practices. So we'll be covering some of these topics in the next video. So I think I'm close to the deployment. I'm sure this time it should not take 4 minutes or 2 minutes to complete this task for testing. So it's waiting for initializing the deployment task. Again, this time also it took longer, almost 3 minutes to complete this task. So I think that's how the database docpack deployment time is. Now I should be able to see my new changes coming. That's all for this video. So I'm sure this video is helpful. Thanks for watching. It would be really nice if you can provide the feedback on this session so that I can improve myself. Thank you very much.